Hey, what is up, all you beautiful recruiters, headhunters, search firm owners, and whatnot? This is Headhunters Live, coming to you the week before Thanksgiving, and I bring you my beautiful co-host, Chris Wessel, best-looking man in the business.
Oh,
I'm just kidding, Neil, as well
Neil's like,
as
oh.
as well as
You just
you're
Neil, what are you
disappointed.
doing?
Wow, that's cool.
As well as Neil Lebovitz, my brother from another mother, who, by the way, turned, I believe, 21 last night?
Yes, sir.
Birthday?
61.
Happy birthday, man.
Thank you,
Happy
sir.
birthday.
They're not the
Yeah,
same for like 12 or 13 or 10, and you're getting all these presents and friends and cakes and surprises. You just deal with the Facebook and LinkedIn things and enjoy the comments and age another year, another circle around the sun, as they say.
shit, man. I'll be 50 in just like 3 months, so I'm not too far behind you, brother. Not too far behind. Well, that said, we have an amazing show today. It's going to be a real fun one with a guy named Ed Wallach. Is it Wallach? Wallach, right? Okay, I thought I was pronouncing it right. Ed Wallach. This is a guy that recruits the good guys that help take care of America's bad guys. And so this is going to be a great show. He's a bit of a wild guest. He's a wild card, if you will. And yeah, they're going to have a lot of fun. But before we bring him on, though, if you're watching live, please comment live in the comments. We know who's watching. We'd love to see that, as well as if you are watching on the replay, comment replay. Feel free to ask questions in the comments. We'll answer those if you have any. And before we bring them on, I do want to share with you a couple of our amazing sponsors. And I say amazing because I might be a little bit biased, because I run a company called the Digital Headhunter, and we help small search firms, independent recruiters punch above their weight class, and we help them deploy a sales and marketing system, and it's a done for you service. So if you're interested in that, so you don't have to bang your head against the wall trying to figure out the tech stack, go to thedigitalheadhunter.com/build. There's a 10-minute video on there showing exactly what we build, how it works, why it works, and you can book a call right there on the page and talk to myself or one of my team members, and we can tell you all about the program. In addition, Neil runs a company called Back Office Staffing Solutions, also known as BOSS. Now, Back Office Staffing Solutions is a back office staffing solutions company that handles all the payroll and the workers' comp and the insurance and just all the paperwork for contract staffing. So if you're a small shop independent recruiter and you want to get rid of the whole feast and famine cycle that plagues most direct placement agencies, where you may have a great month that you goose egg for a month and yada yada. If you want to get some recurring revenue in your life and also better serve your clients, but you don't want to deal with all those headaches of dealing with the back office, go to backofficenow.com, and Neil has a really cool resource called the gross margin method. So if you want to learn how you can maximize your gross margin, go to backofficenow.com/GMM. Also known as
webinar. So it's a really good one.
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So go check that out. It's actually a really good training. I've checked it out myself. It's really good. And I know good training because I'm the best trainer out there. So go check out backofficenow.com/GMM. All right. So with that said, I want to do that fairly quickly because I want to bring in this guest because we're going to have a great time. There's a lot to talk about.
The syndicate and then our show.
Oh, that's right. Thank you. The syndicate. That's right. Right. Thank you, Neil. I'm so excited to talk to Ed. I'm skipping some of the promos here. So for those you don't know, Neil and I started a free recruiters community called the Syndicate. So elite recruiters go to play. It's at thesyndicate.chat. It's completely free. It's got, I think, 50 or 60 some agreements in there, another 50 or 60 forms. So you're looking for a retainer agreement, contingency agreement, an engagement agreement, you want an NDA, it's all in there completely free. We have free training. We have a lot of premium training in there as well. It's a community where you can meet other recruiters, ask questions, get advice, and if you like white hot recruiting memes, I got plenty of those in there as well. So it's serious, but also a lot of fun. Neil and I are hosting a a program called Foundations Live, which is a soup to nuts recruiting training, good for beginners all the way through veterans. And tomorrow, we are on week 6 of this training. We have a lesson titled Marketing Made Easy. All you have to do if you want to watch is go to the syndicate.chat, and you're going to go to a section called Free Training or Training Grounds, and you'll see a training session called Foundations Live, and we'll be going live on Zoom. You'll see the link in the
I thought we were going to
community,
broadcast in the
1
groups.
p.m. tomorrow.
I thought we were going to broadcast in the groups, and then we'll put the link to the groups. And then
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we are going to yeah, thank you, Neil. I forgot about that. We are going to also broadcast live in the Facebook group as well if you don't happen to catch it on the syndicate.chat. So go to syndicate.chat, check out the training, and all of our previous lessons are recorded and available for your replay. So that said, I think that is it. I want to bring on Ed.
Let's do it.
Ed's going to be a fun one, guys. So let's bring on Ed, and let's party. Here we go.
There he is.
What do you say, boys?
Now, before the show, and by the way, thank you for being here. Before the show, we were in the green room. We were calling this the Jewish sandwich, I believe.
Yeah, you two
in
were
the middle,
like,
surrounded by 2 Gentiles on either end.
Coach Rami.
2 pieces of white bread on the side.
White bread on the side. By the way, was that a gummy you just ate, Wessel?
What? No. Maybe.
Or that's the reefer.
That's a
It's
bad
gateway
influence.
You guys do have good hair, though, on the sides.
Well,
Seriously.
drug. Yeah,
You know, not
Gentile genes.
you. 61 like me. This
you
is
can share. You can share some of your hats with Neil. He's got enough. He gave us a fashion show before. He's gonna switch his hat every minute. It's gonna be.
I got hats. Hats for bats.
That's for bet. Well, let's intro you. For those who don't know, Ed Wallach is the man who recruits the good guys who take care of America's bad guys. So obviously that's a bit of a little bit of a clickbait sort of hook. But if you could tell the audience like who you are, what you do, and what do you recruit specifically? Like what is it that you do?
Well, as you guys have said, my name is Ed Wallach, and for the last 33 years, I've been recruiting engineers and scientists for companies that support the defense industry and the intelligence community. So you've got your 17 intelligence agencies, part of the apparatus there, NSA, CIA, etc. That tell you anymore, got to kill you kind of stuff. Most of those requiring polygraph clearances. As well, I work with some of the national labs, labs out of universities that get government contracts that do advanced R&D for whether it's spying community, missile systems, the balloon that flew across the country last year. I have a client that builds those. It was kind of funny when that thing was happening. So really, it's advanced R&D. It never really changes. It's recession proof. You have some good years, but you never really have bad years because it doesn't crash like tech and some of the other sectors out there. So it's provided a solid living. In fact, this year has been my best year when lots of my pals in the business weren't having such great years in their verticals. But the money flows out of the Pentagon, and companies are going to continue to build things. Now it's drones, counter drones, and all the different types of solutions. That the Pentagon's trying to ramp up for the wars we're fighting, and ones will hopefully not be fighting. But deterrence is really the key: power projection and deterrence.
So you don't only play spies necessarily, but you play some folks who.
I don't actually place the actual James Bond kind of guys. I place the guys who help build the systems that the agency uses, the sensors, the signal processing, the algorithm development, the communication systems. I've had clients tell me, look, I need an antenna guy who can help me build a 3G antenna. I go, whoa, 3G is kind of old, isn't it? And LTE goes, yeah, but the guys behind the rock over there are still using burners that are 3G, and we need to be able to hone in on those signals. I'm like, makes sense. So
you recruit the Qs in the James Bond world, if you will, right? The Qs, not the Bonds, but the Qs.
The Qs, exactly. In fact, one of my old clients was a Kinetic. It was a British corporation that bought a whole bunch of companies, and the Q from Kinetic stemmed from the original Q, MI6, that was their guy who built their James Bond kind of toys. So it's always interesting when I get to go to my clients. Not that they'll let me see much because I don't have a security clearance. nor do I need one nor want one. But sometimes I get to see the toys. I'll walk past and I'm like, what's that guy doing? He's tracking a fellow in the desert, 12,000 miles away. We're tracking a small watercraft. So it's interesting. It's fun. It's never ending. Currently, I'm working with an Israeli company that's building a counter drone solution. That our military, Mar-a-Lago, White House, they use this console. So when people are flying little drones in, it can zap it, take it over, hack it, and take control of it. It's pretty cool.
You can tell us more, you have to
I
kill
love
us.
living in America.
Can't tell you anymore.
I love it.
Yeah, got to kill us.
That's excellent. All right, so I can ask you this. So, just from what I know about you and looking at you, and after talking to you a little bit, you definitely seem like the epitome of the what I always think about recruiters is we're like the land of misfit toys. We don't belong in corporate. We really don't belong anywhere. We're independent,
completely unemployable.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
we're
just
unemployment decisions.
We're weird people who found a way to make a lot of money, basically. Yeah. Right? Doing the one thing we're good at. Like that's
sorry. My camera's messing up here, and I'm gigantic in it, so I don't care for it.
Hey, by the way, at 61, you are now huge.
Well, let me ask you. So Ed, so you told me before the show, and you know that like you started off in your dad's business, and you never really had to work in a corporate environment. But do you feel the same way though? Like I've always felt that way about recruiters, not necessarily the new breed recruiters, because recruiting is kind of corporate in a lot of ways. But we're talking the old school recruiters, been around for 20, 30, 40 years, where we just don't belong in corporate America. We fly by, we have our own rules. We're not, but we found a way to make a lot of money. Right. And that's what I love about this business.
That's the key. And, the communication and integration with people, it feels good when you help somebody solve their problem. And I've always told people, everybody wins when a placement happens. The company's really excited. They got their guy or gal. The candidate is excited. They got a new great job with an opportunity. I'm psyched. They send me a big fat check. I share with my recruiters. Like there's nobody losing in that scenario. Everyone's a winner. Now, granted, as we all know, we get kicked in the teeth. We get sharp sticks in the eyes. We get all those things that happen. But eventually you make a placement and all that goes away. And again, the big pile of cash they send you makes up for all the, the times that you didn't make a placement.
Well, we recruiters, a good recruiters know how to eat a lot of shit and keep smiling. Please, sir, can I have some more shit?
Right. Right? No is a great answer because I know I'm one closer to yes.
Right, and I don't waste any more time on any no's, so I can spend more time getting that yes. Yeah.
Exactly. Rumor has it you started in the industry when a $2,000 placement was worth $50,000 in today's dollars.
Yeah, I think in '99 I made 72 placements, and the average was 13K. I billed $1 million that year, my first time billing $1 million, but it was a lot of placements. Now I think I did 40 placements this year for maybe $1.5 million or $1.6 million so far. Because the average now is 40K, so it's beautiful. You've seen
the production. Well, all right, let me ask you this. Let's dive right into like the how you do that, right? So you built $1.5 million last year, or was it this year or that last year?
I think last year was $1.4 million. This year I'm already $1.5 million, and I got a couple of good ones ready to drop. So how do you do that? Like, so, because I know a lot of recruiters out there can struggle making, do 300, 350, 400, right? Well, first of all, I'm a lunatic, okay? Crazy madman. The brain never stops thinking about shit, okay? Luckily, I was blessed with two things, good looks and a great memory. And the memory helps me kind of keep it all, on the right plane of who needs what.
Things. And you were born with delusion.
By the way, I'm a recruiter, dude. Come on.
Yeah.
Having great clients has been the key for a long time. And I've got some 15 and 20-year clients. Now, when you go back 30 years to pre-internet, working at my dad's office, and he built a big shop, lots of recruiters. There was nothing free. It was hit the newspaper, call potential clients, get shitty fee agreements signed up. Again, sharp sticks in the eye, kicks in the teeth, but the learning that you have to do in this business to take those lumps. I started in '91 when there was a heavy recession in R&D and tech. my dad said, hey, come up from Florida. It'll be great. You'll make hundreds of thousands of dollars. I think I made 13 grand my first year living in his basement thinking, shit, did I do the right thing? Should I have come up? Is this going to be for me? PhDs were driving cabs. You couldn't buy a placement. And it probably took a couple years of working hard, getting those calls in, getting the no's. And next thing you know, boom, I think I made 5 placements one December and boom, hit 100 grand the next year. And then really never looked back. Because once I figured it out that companies have real needs. And if you can address those needs and bring them what they want, they're going to hire the people, especially in our field. It's different where people go on overhead. When you talk about hiring in the defense and the intelligence communities, these are billable openings where the government is paying the company to do whatever they're going to do. So you hire the candidate, you pay the candidate 1, the company charges the government 3, take the G and away, everybody's making money. So if they don't hire people, they're losing money. And then they're going to lose the contract. So it behooves them to spend money to hire people. So they have no problem using agencies. I've had companies that spend 600, 700, 800 grand on agency fees in a year and smile because they know they hired 20, 30, 40 people that, the bankroll that's coming in on that side is far greater than, the investment, so to speak.
And that's a good point to take away for any kind of recruiter, even if they're way outside of defense, because if you are hiring for a profit center as opposed to a cost center in any business, sales is the more obvious one. But if what you're hiring for is making that company money, then there's a different math going on there.
They're going to keep doing it.
And they're just trying to keep the cost as low as possible. They're also going to want to keep the fee as low as possible, because they're trying to manage all that cost.
Right. Yeah.
Well, now you come from an era of So when I first started, so I started searching in 2000. So, it was after you, but certainly still a long time ago. And I came in the era where we weren't really using email very much, like a little bit using email, but we were still faxing resumes. And it was pretty much just phone work.
ISDN line.
Yeah. And so one of the things I was drilled into my head at the time, which always stuck with me, and which I think new recruiters just don't have is get your phone time in, talk to people all day long, and just talk. And that's how you build relationships. And those relationships will, if you build them, then they'll last over the years. And they might have a need this year, next year, but at some point they're going to have a need. Then at some point they're going to use you. And I think new recruiters, oftentimes they because of LinkedIn, email, like I know recruiters who barely talk on the phone all day, which blows my mind. Right. So would you agree with that? Is that something that stuck with you from early in your career?
It's about the keypad, not the keyboard. You have to learn to use this thing. It is the money-making tool of all tools, because everybody's sending emails. And today's kids that come out of college, they're scared to pick up the phone. They're just hide behind the keyboard. They send the email. They think it's getting where it's going. And I've trained many, many recruiters. And again, our side is the straight commission. Kill it, you eat it. And there are many people that can't survive in that environment. They need the paycheck. So I've got plenty of people that are now friends that worked for me over the years, that now they work at companies. They make their 80 or 90 or 100, 120 grand, get their salary. And it's amazing to see how they can get away on the other side without doing the things we do. They're running ads and they're like order takers. What comes in off of what they spent, and then they process it, as opposed to actually hunting and sourcing and doing what we do on our side, spending hours into the night till your eyes fall out. Back then there was no LinkedIn back then. It was, we would run ads and we'd get, resumes to come in, but there really weren't repositories or databases. My dad's place back in the day, it was paper. Like, you want to do a search, you had to pull these huge binders out and sit there and flip through. And of course, you didn't know whether the candidates were alive or, active.
You know why Robert Half's system was so famous and why they made so much money and became what they were, is they took index cards and they would have these color tabs that you would just have this whole box of colored tabs. If they were CPA, they get the pink tab. If they had engineering, and then you would take your job order, put the tabs in your job order, go in the tray and match up where you see colors.
Yeah, we had similar. We had the hardware book and the software book. But what I learned was people doing the coding were not the brightest bulbs in the box. So what I realized was I had to go through both books if I really wanted to cover all the bases and make sure I looked at every candidate that we were representing at the time. Now it's just so easy. You go online, you do a search, they pop up. I have not adopted AI or ChatGPT simply because I don't really do any more recruiting. I manage the clients, I bring in the clients, I deal with the fee agreements, I send all the candidates to my clients, and I handle all the negotiations and make the placements. But I've got recruiters that work for me, and like Chris, I'm in what I feel is probably one of the better split networks in the world, NPA Worldwide. Shout out NPA. I've been in it 33 years. Never really used it. We always wanted to make our own placements and make all the money. So we'd make a placement by accident over the years in the splits. And people say, why do you stay in it? So look, great camaraderie. I got some of my best friends, Radzinski, and some of the guys that have been in it forever. And then about 10, when I started my business about 15 years ago, I realized, I'm going to focus time and build more relationships in the network. Not just go to party and drink, which I'm still going to do, but I'm going to leverage it and get these recruiters. They always thought, oh, the cleared stuff's too hard to work. And I really, again, focused on developing relationships. So not to toot my own horn, but for the last 2 years, I'm number one in the world in total revenue out of 600 firms in the entire split network.
Yep. I see the charts too because I'm in there. He's made a lot of people.
Every month the thing comes out.
Whip it out.
Is your 1.6 million your take or the take before splits?
That's the take before splits. So I think out of the 1.6, they're not all splits. I'd say I probably made 30 splits this year. So it's probably $1.2 million in splits.
That is heavy. That's heavy. All right. So let me ask you this. So in your practice, then you've got recruiters working underneath you. You handle the account management, do all those relationships. So let me ask you this then. So, and we touched about this a few minutes before the call. You talked about client management, right? Being able to know how to manage clients, know when to say no, et cetera, et cetera. So for I think we're going to have a hiring boom. A lot of recruiters are going to have a really good year next year, but there's also a lot of dangers of taking on bad clients. So what advice would you give for a recruiter going into next year in terms of just client management and knowing who to work with, who not to? Like, what should recruiters look for?
One of the things I learned over the years was early on, if you'd allow me to sign your fee agreement, I had a client and I would work on it. Now, whether that turned out to placements, I didn't really keep track, but what I learned was I took a lot of shitty clients on, and I never really did the research. Do people stay there? Is it a desirable landing spot for a top engineer or scientist? Fast forward to today, I'm super picky. You better have the best benefits of all companies, because when I get that superior candidate to you, I got to make sure he wants to come to work for you. If you're just a regular company, he's not going to take your job. And then I've invested a lot of time with the recruiter and myself getting to the point, they make him the offer, it sucks, the benefits suck, and then they don't take the job. So what I've learned is I'm really picky. If your benefits are not up to snuff, if your retention isn't great, if you don't have the top 10% of scientists and engineers working your place, we're probably not the right fit. And, what winds up happening is the percentage of acceptances is much higher. Now, again, in the intelligence community, companies have such crazy benefits like 25% profit sharing plan contributions, plus fully paid health, plus up to 8 weeks time off. So really it's about a 50% package on top. So if candidate gets $160K offer, it's really worth $240, and they're putting 40 right into the profit sharing plan. So when you tell that, you tell it to a kid, they don't really understand it. They go, what's that? Tell it to somebody like us and understand, whoa, they're going to put 25% in and it's mine. Well, again, these companies make so much money doing what they do for that community. It's all baked in. They know if I pay the candidate $200,000, I'm charging the client $500,000, and there's plenty of money in there after G&A to make profit, keep people employed. Now, the flip side is you got to go work in a SCIF, sensitive compartmented intelligence facility, lead line room, can't take your phone in, can't tell your family what you do at night. You're in a box all day, tracking things or doing whatever you do that's classified. But you get paid quite heavily. Another thing I learned over the years was the fee agreements. Again, as I mentioned earlier, I'd sign anything. I'd look at it and go, that's probably never going to happen. Fuck it, I'll sign it. I want to do the business. Now it's either you sign mine at 30% or I don't need you as a client. And I've had them where the legal eagles on the side, the GCs, they'll send you their agreement. I go, there's no chance I'm signing it. How about I'll send you mine? I'll send mine. They'll come back with all their red lines, and then I'll respond, perhaps we're not the right firm for you. And then they go, oh, yes, you are. We'll sign yours immediately. And then I learned it's a game that the GCs at companies play. They can do whatever they want. You don't have to sign their agreement. The question is, who needs who more? In the old days, I needed them more because I needed clients and I needed to make placements. Now I got plenty of clients. I can pick and choose, fire ones. And if I'm going to take clients on, it's going to be on my terms and it's going to be 30%. There's no money back. We'll give you a credit or something should something happen within the first 90 days. But what I found is the clients are better. The work life and the quality of work at these companies is better. And the engineers, when you tell them about these firms, they're excited about it. That's different than the Lockheeds and Raytheons and the big butts and seats defense contractors, which I dealt with those over the years, and they're black holes. They got teams of recruiters looking to beat you out of resumes these days. The Booz Allens, et cetera. You send them a resume, they quickly go to their thing. They do we've already got the candidate. I'm like, what do you mean you have the candidate? Where'd you get him? Oh, I'm a heads up service?
Yeah.
No, GFY, not happening. It's a much better way to run a business. Now, not everybody has the luxury of doing that. A lot of these recruiters today, they got to smile and down. They got to take clients who will listen to them, take the lower fees, take the shittier terms, and grind it out. Because we all had to do that at the beginning until you build something.
Yeah, but you start there. I know when I first started, first time I started coaching, when I left recruiting back in 17, 18, 19, that's kind of slowly transitioned out. Started coaching, I had no brand and no one knew who the hell I was. So I had to take, lower level clients. I had to do different things, do price breaks. And then as I got better and got more of a brand, I didn't have to do that. I started charging more and getting higher quality clients. And I know same thing with recruiting. When I first started, I took 20% fees. I'm glad I never took a 15% fee, but I did take 20%. And then I started doing 25 and then 30. Then I started doing charging engagement fees. Yeah. Right. Which is really hard to do in IT. And I was able to do that later on and start working direct with So you can't necessarily go for 30% right off the bat. Maybe you can, but at least you need to start working. And we don't settle at the 20% and stay there. And a lot of recruiters do because they get comfortable there.
Well, I had a guy in my office once, probably 20 years ago, and I taught him he was a friend. Hey, your social practice isn't working as a doctor, can't make any money. You want to come do this? Great. Come on in. We'll train you up. And I heard him, oh, hello, client. Yes, our fee is 30%, but if you sign up today, I could probably get it for 25%. And if that doesn't work, I could probably go and talk to Ed and get it for 20. And I'm shaking my head and go, dude, you say 30 and you shut up.
And even if you're going to drop it, why are you going by 5? You're leaving so much money. Maybe, just stop talking.
No, that guy didn't last. He recruits in the industry, as many of them do. They go get the real job that's not straight commission, that they earn a salary, they show up every day, and they work in the machine, which, great for many people.
Yeah, and he basically brought up, he negotiated against himself.
Totally.
Right? And the funny thing is the power balance, and some of it's establishing a brand, but some of it, again, it comes back to who needs it more, right? And I would say the best advice I could share too for any recruiter, just in terms of how you manage your business, how you manage your life, is when the money's flowing, save a little. Because I can tell you that a lot of the confidence I gained in the last several years, in the 20 years I've been doing this, are partially attributable to a hefty war chest. So just, when the money's flowing and you're oh, I'm going to get a Range Rover, I'm going to do this, I'm going to go to freaking the Bahamas, and I'm going to go whatever, go have fun, save some money. Because all of a sudden, when you're looking at your bank account and you're I don't need this fucking deal. Right. Then you're going to approach it completely differently.
Well, and I will say this: use momentum, because I know for me, so if you're in a slump and you're not going to have the same motivation to stand strong and hold your fees, but if you make a couple placements, don't take time off. Go market, get more clients, because you're on a streak, or on a hot streak, you're on a roll.
Confidence is high. You're
high. If you just build 200K in a quarter, you'll probably have no problem holding firm at 30% versus doing a goose egg in a quarter. But the problem is, for a lot of recruiters, they do 200K in a quarter and then they take a month off. Which, and I get it. You need to take breaks, but
consistent results. That's what I've always lived by.
Use momentum.
Effort yields consistent results. If you just now. Some people, I had a good friend, made a lot of money. His mantra was, I make 50 calls a day. I work 9 months from the beginning of to the end of the 9th month, and then he'd take the 3-month sabbatical. He'd put his phone on do not disturb. His clients knew Dan's gone for 3 months. He didn't care who did it, because he knew when he came back, the phone would ring again. I was like, wow, you really do that? Now, during the 9 months he's working, I'm just calling him, okay, dude, you want to go mountain biking? Want to go play golf? Nope, I'm in my 9 months. Now, the way I do it is I have fun every single day, and I work every single day. And I do most of my work from this, whether it's on the golf course, at band practice, on the ski slopes. I've made many placements on chairlifts because I can integrate my lifestyle doing that. Now, I'm also not doing searches on the phone on the chairlift. So those that have to source and still have to sit at a desk, different story. But, I think there's the mixing of the fun and the mixing of the work each day on a consistent basis, which keeps you smiling, keeps you happy, keeps you positive mental attitude. So that comes across when you talk to people. If you're down and depressed and bummed, that also comes across. And people don't want to work with people that aren't bringing the positive vibe and the juice, especially in this type of business, because they need that.
They want to hear confidence. Like, they want to know that you're the one who's going to get this done for them. And if you, that is entirely up to you whether or not you can convince them, right? If you sound unsure, if you sound like, well, I could do it, and I don't charge much, and I'm pretty low cost, then you're done. But if you're like, I can do it, but it's not just hubris. You can speak to, here's how we're going to get it done. We're going to get this done for you. Here's how it should cost. This is what I need from you to make it happen. Yeah. Some of them are going to say no. A whole lot of people probably don't work with Ed, a whole shitload, but they're not properly qualified.
I work with maybe 20 firms on the planet.
Exactly. And that's another thing I think is important about like the amount of billing and the consistent billing is like you're tending to those clients and their repeat clients, and you're making them happy. You're not trying to make everyone happy. You're not trying to email everyone in the country. You're not trying to shotgun all this stuff. You're like, okay, get a good one, you hold on to them, and you just manage that. It's amazing how but it's funny because I remember when making that leap, it was always scary to like drill down to like a smaller group of clients and just work on those more consistently. It's scary. I get that, because in your mind, especially when you're newer or if you're struggling, you think to yourself, oh, more volume equals more likelihood. I don't want to miss out on any opportunities. So I get it. But I mean, Ed's a perfect example of how that business development strategy goes a long way.
It's about quality, quality on both ends, candidate and client.
So let's say, so let's say you get a client, right? So you get a client. All right. So let's talk about that. You get your first search. How do you develop that client into a major client, right? Because obviously every client, you guess not going to become a major client right off the bat. You got to prove yourself, right? What do you do when you get a new client to develop that into potentially a major client?
Well, I ask them a million questions so that I'm armed with every piece of information to go be successful in training up whichever recruiters I'm going to choose to do those searches, and make sure they have every piece of information, whether maybe they'll even have a Zoom with the recruiter and the client. And I've even done it with my affiliate partners because the trust is there. I don't have to hide the client from the affiliate. You just get on the Zoom, let's learn about it. And then it's bringing them what they've asked for. And too many agencies, the filter is too big. So they've asked for an XYZ, and now the recruiters send them things that start M and and then they're going, whoa. That's not really what we asked for. Now granted, it's contingent, they haven't paid anything, even on an engagement. I make sure that the first resume is a home run and going to be super close that they'd want to talk to that candidate. So instantly you gain credibility. After all your bullshit is done about the selling and we're great and hire us and you get the fee agreement signed, now when the rubber hits the road, it's can you deliver them what you said you were going to deliver, that they're going to go, wow, that's a good candidate. We couldn't find anybody like that for the last 3 months on our own, whatever it may be. Then it's, does the candidate show up? Do all the steps happen and the gates drop on the way towards the interview, the phone, getting in? Once you make your first one, then they like you. Now, my secret weapon is let's go out to dinner. I'm here in DC, so we got the Palm, the Prime Rib, Capitol Grill, and I'm really good at entertaining and drinking whiskey and eating steaks and, spending time on the golf course with clients. You do that, you spend 4 or 5 hours, they're your friend for life. Again, it takes the personality, it takes the outgoing gregariousness to be able to go out and spend that time with clients and be able to communicate on things not business, so that they come away going, wow, hey, you're good at what you do, and I like you. I want to keep doing business with you. And that's how you get the repeats. I made 20 placements with one client this year. And then at the end of the summer, they sent me a rec for an HR person. I'm like, fuck. I sat on it for about a month.
It's a good point about going out to dinner and eating steak and drinking. So I have a buddy of mine. I learned this from him. He called it the 7-hour rule. So his basic rule. By the way, he sold SAP. So he would sell these multi-million-dollar consulting projects to large enterprise clients. That was so he really had to develop a lot of relationships, and he had this 7-hour rule where basically he said if you get a client or prospect or whatever, and you clock 7 hours, it could be 7 hours talking on the phone, golfing, going to the strip club, eating steak dinners, whatever it is, clock 7 hours. It's 7 hours, you got to get out of jail free card. That was his rule, right? 7 hours.
That's a good thought process, and it reminds me, Ed, of a situation where I had this one decent sized regional CPA firm that I started hiring for a few years back. And I don't just do accounting. Accounting recruiting is not a focus for me, but it's one of them. And also they're a great reference. They refer tons of their clients to me. So it's a strategic one. This guy, early 70s, been running the firm since 88, hates recruiters, doesn't like to work with them, blah, 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 blah. I see he's about an hour away. I said, listen, I'll come meet with you at your office. And he was like, fine. Okay. So I met with him and I'd sent him the agreement in advance just to take a look at. Here's what my agreement looks like, blah, blah, blah. But I was based on somebody I knew who said he would be good to meet with, I'm like, let's take this meeting. I show up and we go in his conference room. He's got a check sitting there waiting for me for the retainer. And I was like, he was like, yeah, let's go. Let's talk. Let's do this. And I was like, oh, well, okay. And he was like, listen, in all the years I've been doing this, I have recruiters calling me all the time. No one's ever come to my office. And he's like, you drove up, come meet with me, and you're going to sit down with me for an hour and a half and talk about this. And then, you know what? After that, too, we went and had a couple of Manhattans and some steaks. There's no substitute for in-person or phone, whatever it is, live communication, even over video to some extent, because the messaging and the emails and the LinkedIn, you lose so much nuance. In the communication, whether you're trying to sell a candidate on an opportunity or whether you're trying to understand a company. So it's amazing how much those little touches go.
Yeah, listen, the video stuff amazes me on how many people won't do it or don't do it. And honestly, if someone says, oh, no, I'm not with just call me, it'll be easier. I'll say, let's reschedule when we could do a Zoom. Yeah. I mean, I almost always do that because it's not the same as live, but my God, it's so much better than the telephone.
It's way more personal.
Yeah.
And with managers, we talked to a lot of tech managers, and it seems like lots of them play guitar. So when I play guitar, and I got lots of guitars in my room, and they'll go, "Oh, you play?" Next thing you're having a conversation about what do you play? And next thing you know, you have a relationship where it's not just he's a dick, but he sends us good people. Yeah.
Well, it goes right back to what I said before. When I first got into the business, it was drilled into my head: get on the phone and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. That's why phone time for us, it wasn't so much dials; it was phone time. 4 hours phone time. You were making $100,000 a year back when that mattered. And that was you had to find any excuse. I remember there's this prospect I was trying to get business out of, and I found out he was buying a truck. My dad worked at this dealership, and I was able to talk to my dad, and because I found out what kind of truck he was looking for. I think it was like a Toyota. My dad worked for a Toyota dealership at the time, so I got my dad, hey, what can you give me advice on what to tell this guy if he wants to buy a Toyota truck? And I called the guy back, and I was giving him advice on what to do this, ask for this, here's what their margin's going to be, and I got that business because I just do whatever I could do just to help and just to be of value and service. And even today, when I talk to clients, I try to I tell jokes. I tell them about my life, about my kids, ask about their life and their kids, because it's that, as you said, the personal relationship, it gets you that get out of jail free card. And just like as you said, Chris, that personal sort of touch that really, I think a lot of recruiters, that they've lost that over the years. Also, right? Which is a great opportunity for those if you can have the personal touch.
Well, they never had that because they didn't learn it that way, or they never had the opportunity. Yeah.
There's too much fluff and bullshit too. What my clients tell me they like about me is no bullshit. Tell them exactly how it is in as few words as possible. They like that. There isn't any, it is what it is. Here's the candidate. Here's what we liked. Here's what's good about you guys. Here's what's not good. Here's what's happening. It's the truth. That's when people ask me, what works? I go, the truth. You're not going to candy up something and make up some story. It's not going to work. You just got to tell the truth. And sometimes it's not going to lead to a placement. Sometimes it's going to. but you
We're
feel
afraid
better.
to deliver bad news, or even afraid to deliver like an even-handed evaluation of the candidate, right? Like whenever we go into sell mode where we're like, there's all the great things about them. Whereas if you get to a comfort level with a client, like you're going to get so much repeat business if you're like, listen, here's what I like about them. Here's a couple concerns you may want to probe into. They're going to respect the hell out of the fact that you were like, you weren't just trying to sugarcoat everything.
Well,
And they're
we used to do
nobody's
reference checks,
What's
and
that?
I stopped doing. Companies used to ask me to do reference checks. I said, you know what? It's a conflict of interest. I don't want to do a reference check, get a bad one, and then wonder, is my fee going to hinge on this? So even though I would tell you, it's better you guys do them. That way, I'm not involved in monkeying.
Plus, you know the job better, and like it's you do it. Yeah.
Which brings me to last month. Had a candidate get through all 3 phases. Negotiated the money was great. $150K. It was going to be a $45K fee. Need the references, and this is for a professional services lead for this drone company. Go out to the bases and make sure everything works, tidy stuff up. The guy gave references that actually buried the candidate, and the GM's a good friend of mine. He goes, dude, I can't hire this guy. The reference just buried him. I said, well, look, you got 2. Why don't you call the other guy just in case you had a hard on for the guy or something?
You almost never see that, though. That's
He calls the second guy.
They're always
the second guy didn't do him any favors either. So I called the candidate. I go, dude, did you let these people know that they were going to be your reference? Yeah. And, my buddy, the GM of the company, says, I asked them pointed questions. They had no clue. One guy was in the military, and apparently the guy had only been there a month before he transferred. And the guy's response was, I don't know. He wasn't here long enough. I'm like, that's the guy you're giving as a reference? Which, again, 33 years of doing it, I can't recall on one hand maybe bad references. Kind of crazy. Like,
all right. So that's some fun here. Funniest war story in this business. I want to hear like a funny get your go-to war story in this business.
I got a funny one. When I was training a bunch of recruiters, I had brought a bunch of my friends in. This is probably early to mid 90s, pre-internet, and we were doing company with a business company called Manugistics. They were like a mini Big 6 consulting firm, and so one of my guys had recruited a candidate. Never forget the guy's name. Peter Wages went by minimum. He wasn't in one day, but the other guy was in. So apparently they set up the interview. The guy goes over for the interview, and apparently he's got the pocket pen protector on, the Coke bottle thick glasses. He's not their kind of guy. Interview ends rather abruptly. So they call the office, and the other guy takes the call. And, apparently it might have been his candidate because we shared candidates and clients. And they go, have you met Mr. Wages? And the guy completely bullshits. Of course I met him. He's Big 6 material. Never heard from Manugistics again. We still joke about, hey, Big 6 material, huh? Like, again, that's back to the bullshit. If you bullshit them, it's not going to work. So that provided lots of laughs for a number of years with those couple of guys. They're still good friends of mine, even though they're out of the business.
From now on, Ed, when I send you somebody, when we work together on something, my subject line will always be Big 6 material.
Well, everybody also knows in my network that I carry the largest whack-a-mole mallet. And if you send me a mole, it's going to get whacked back. And that's just the way it is. If you pluck some low-hanging fruit and you send it to me thinking, this is a placement? No, it doesn't work that way. And, look, you got to have some humor and some comedy to go along with it. And, keep people smiling.
I wonder how many recruiters are going to watch us over the weekend looking up Peter Wages. Who else is the guy? Like, poor Peter.
Poor Peter. Minimum wages.
But
you do it long enough, you pretty much have everything happen that can happen. Now we focus on pretty much good things happening, offers, acceptance.
Well, I have a client. Who placed some. It was happening last year around Christmas, and he told me the story where it was a GM for like a recycling plant, basically, and the person started, and it was maybe 3 weeks before Christmas. The person started, and they had their Christmas party that weekend, and my client got a call. I think it was like 10 o'clock that night, Saturday night, during that party, and from his client, and the client says, guess where so-and-so is? He says, where? What's going on? She's in jail. And apparently she got so drunk and so high, and she was in jail the entire weekend. And of course, obviously they didn't get paid on that deal, unfortunately.
Right.
But yeah, and the crazy, the some of the most professional candidates you'll find. You'll see that they'll no call, no show. They'll get drunk. They'll lie. They'll do drugs. It is amazing to see how shitty.
You're talking about recruiters or candidates now?
Oh, recruiters, of course. You guys.
Yeah, it's funny. When we go to our conferences, the NPA conferences, where you're putting 150 recruiters, it all happens at the bar. And it was funny. Did you come down to Atlanta a couple years ago, Chris?
No, but I'll be in Philly when we do.
We go to Atlanta and we're at the JW Marriott. We check in at 11 o'clock and we say, "Where's the bar?" "Oh, the bar's not open until 5 p.m. I quickly texted Veronica, who's in charge of NPA of the meeting, and said, "What are you doing?" We had to walk into a mall and drink at a CPK in like the lobby atrium of a mall. It's like, well, really how it goes with NPA. We need a better bar.
And well, all right, and we start wrapping up here. We are about to turn to a pumpkin here in just a few minutes. So with that said, I want to share one more thing with the recruiters watching this. What's your best advice for next year, right? Because I think, again, we're having a good hiring boom, I think. And so a lot of recruiters are now kind of putting their plans together, getting ready, gearing up, and all that kind of jazz. What would your best advice be for the recruiters watching this to take advantage of the hiring boom next year?
The things I tell people are be the best you can be, work extra hard, do the research, make the calls, focus, don't give up. Too many people make the 3 calls, get the 3 no's, and say nobody's hiring, when the reality is you got to get to 46 and 47 before they say yes. And next thing you know, you get a client, because all it takes is getting that one, and good things happen from there. And you got to be persistent, stay in it pretty much. That's the game is 60 minutes. You can't stop after 30 or 45. You got to stay in the whole way, keep a positive attitude, and that feeds off of itself, and people feel that positivity, as opposed to, I get calls, I'm like, we wouldn't buy anything from you. Like, come on, man. Make the plan, work the plan.
Work your ass off. Work your ass off, make the calls.
A lot of people watching this want to be you when they grow up, and that should be what they strive for, because you have,
being me is fun.
Yeah.
By the way, Ed, how many hat changes have you had this entire call, by the way?
Hold on. We're not done yet. This is one of my best ones, as you can see.
All right.
This is what I got for my 60th last year out of Kemosabe and Aspen. This is a good one. This is a real cowboy hat.
See, the premium subscribers who pay for the post-show access will get to watch 20 minutes of Ed changing hats.
It's about the headgear. If you have solid headgear and you feel good about your head, it's going to come out in your business.
Do you want to put your OnlyFans ID?
Grinder ID?
Listening to Grateful Dead never hurts either.
All right, guys. Well, that said, Ed, I really appreciate having you on. It was a lot of it's probably one of the most fun calls I've had, or most fun shows I've had. So it's fantastic. So I think we'll probably have you on again if you don't mind.
Any questions?
Well, I see. We have one. Could you please provide healthcare and IT staffing industry outlook for 2025? I don't know if you could talk to that because it's not your industry, but that is a question from the audience.
What I know about healthcare is it ain't ending. The older the population ages, the more healthcare is needed. There are areas in our country that don't have the staffing that they need for the travel nurses, the doctors. So you're going to find all over the country is going to need, especially, as the population ages, for the healthcare at all levels.
Yep. And as far as IT, I can speak to that. On the IT side, specialized in a tight niche. If you're doing general IT, you're going to have a hard time because there's so many tech recruiters out there. You want to be working like data science or AI or like SAP, Workday. Just find like a very specific niche vertical and work that.
You got your SAP niche. I got my science and engineering in defense niche. And if you focus and you stay in that niche and you try to become as knowledgeable and bring as much value to the customers, that's the key to success.
100%. Thank you, Ed. All right, guys. Well, that said, thank you everybody for watching the show. If you're watching live, comment live. If you're watching the replay, comment replay. Share the show with your friends if you found this valuable. If everybody shared the show, we'd be the hugest show in the recruiting world. So, Ed, thank you very much. Everybody, have a great Thanksgiving. We will see you guys in 2 weeks. No, I'm sorry, in 3 weeks. We're off for 2. And in 3 weeks, we have oh gosh, forget the name.
Dean Iacovetti.
I can pronounce it.
Longtime friend of mine, former client. He started off wanting to be a lawyer, abandoned that, decided to go work in like HR, ended up being a unintentional entrepreneur when he had to go, when he found that after he left that firm, no one was going to pay him what he needed to make. So he went out and and now he bills about as much as Ed does. 1 or 2 people working for him, and he's a freaking character too. So it's going to be great.
Awesome.
Excellent.
I got some Thursdays
right,
next year, boys. I'd love to come back again.
Awesome.
Definitely have you, brother. All right. We'll see you guys in 3 weeks, and peace out. Bye, everybody.
See you, boys.